to other systems. So let's go over like some quick, netcat syntax and examples. So if you want to run the ncat command, so all you have to do is type in nc right here, and that's going to call the program. And then this -nvv is just saying, hey, run this port scan in very verbose mode, just like with nmap. It has the same type of verbose option. If you don't want to see the verbose output, then just take that off. Then we have -w, and that means, hey, don't time out until like a second pass, and then you can move on. So you can just do that to set how long it'll pretty much like limit how long it'll actually take, because sometimes these scans can take a while. Then you can do a -z to actually say, hey, no data transfer mode. So that's actually going to make it run a lot faster. And then we can have our target address right here, which is the metasploitable machine for us right now. And then let's say we have ports 1 through 100. So we can go ahead and do that and hit enter, and it's going to spit out our results very, very fast. If you run this without the -z, it will be very slow. But as you can see, it tells us, hey, connection refused, connection refused. Hey, port 80 is open, connection refused, connection refused. And you can see what ports are open. This aligns perfectly with our nmap scans before. So you can use this as a viable, port scanning tool as well. So you see port 53 is open. Let's see if anything else open right now. SSH, FTP, Telnet, SMTP. This is stuff that we're going to look at later, but this is just showing you, how you can actually use netcat as a port scanner. And just to note as well, if you wanted to, you can use that as a UDP scanner as well. You would just have to add a -u option like right here, and it'll actually scan the UDP ports. So it might be a little bit slower when you're doing that. As you can see, it's kind of like just trickling through, but it'll eventually get through the entire list, and then we're pretty much good to go. And you'll probably see, I think only like port 53 was open. I don't remember exactly for the UDP one. As you can see, you can use this for UDP scans as well. So it's a very versatile tool. Okay, so another way that netcat is very, very useful is that it allows us to actually listen on ports, either on remote computers or locally, for any traffic that comes over that port to that computer or to our local computer. So what we're going to do right now is just a very quick example of actually using netcat to listen on a port. So all you have to do is call ncat again with nc, and then you put -nlvp. Now the L is going to put us in listening mode, the V is going to give us verbose output, and the P is going to allow us to specify a port. So we could put a target address here if we wanted to connect out to another port and listen, over that port for traffic. But right now we're just going to do this locally. So we're going to listen, hey, if anyone connects to us over port 80, let me know what happens. That's pretty much what this is saying. Now we're listening on port 80. We know that our IP address here ends in .107. So let's actually go over to my Windows machine that I'm doing all this on, and let's see what happens when we actually type in HTTP and then the IP address of my Kali Linux machine. So as you can see, it's spinning. I don't have a web server or anything hosted right now, like that's pushing out stuff. So it's just gonna spin and it's not gonna do anything. But if we go back to our Kali Linux machine and we click back over here, oh hey, it says, hey, we got a connection request from 192.168.56.1. and it's giving us like just different information. And this is just the HTTP header, and it's just telling us this is very useful for catching connections and maybe also like viewing things like potentially in plain text that's sent over it. There's a lot of versatility that comes with this. So that's an example of how you can use ncat to listen for connections and different traffic and such. Just quickly to show you guys, so I went back and actually to show you that things that are passed into the URL can actually be seen over on a Kali Linux machine. So this is just an example, and maybe it's an insecure application and it passes stuff over plain text like in the URL. So user and then a variable password or pass that equals pass. To our Kali Linux machine, it'll actually show us it right here. So it's pretty useful for catching information. So just keep that in mind. So one other thing that you want to do when you're conducting your active reconnaissance is looking for SMB enumeration. This is server message block, and it's very